The Fore people in the highlands of Papua New Guinea used to practice cannibalism. As part of their funeral rites, they ate the corpses of their loved ones rather than leave them to be eaten by worms or maggots. Unfortunately, this practice led to the spread of a deadly disease, Kuru. In the 1950s, there was a lot of debate about the source of Kuru. Most of the Fore people believed that Kuru was the work of a sorcerer, and they passed laws to ban sorcery. Later, in the 50s and 60s, researchers realized it was spread by cannibalism. However, decades of research into Kuru revealed the cause to be a previously unidentified type of infectious agent called prions. Kuru was the first human prion disease identified, and therefore the disease was key in the discovery and expansion of the field. Prions are proteins occurring naturally in the brain, but when they are misfolded, they become infectious and cause normal proteins in the brain to fold into the diseased form. Then they spread, clump together, and cause the brain to degenerate, forming cysts and giving the brain a sponge-like appearance. While it's still a mystery as to how this happens, we know that prion diseases, like mad cow's disease and Kuru, lead to many problems. It is thought that Kuru arose to a spontaneous mutation in the brain, and that the Fore people's rituals allowed the prions to spread into the living population, having affected only the Fore people, and is contracted by coming into contact with open wounds or sores of an infected person or eating an infected brain. It primarily affects the cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for coordination and balance. Because of this, someone who is infected with Kuru may exhibit symptoms similar to Parkinson's disease or strokes, such as difficulty walking, poor coordination, difficulty swallowing, slurred speech, dementia, muscle twitchings and tremors, and random or compulsive laughing or crying. Unfortunately, there is no treatment for Kuru, and the disease is fatal. Due to the discouragement by the Papua New Guinea government starting in the 60s, cannibalism is uncommon today, and Kuru is now a very rare disease, with the last recorded death in the early 2000s. However, the Kuru incubation period, the time between the infection and the manifestation of symptoms, can be as long as 30 years. It left impacts on those affected by it and the history of prion disease research. Because the rituals were conducted mainly by women and children, they died most frequently of Kuru, and many men took on both the maternal and paternal roles in the family. Also, dowries weren't given until the bride lived long enough to give birth. Because Kuru was the first prion disease discovered in humans and the first neurodegenerative disease caused by an infectious agent, it led to a new classification of prion diseases, including fatal familial insomnia. It paved the way for scientists and researchers to learn more about similar diseases and how to prevent them in the future.